Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at some Master League battles. I'm using the meta of most meta teams. Haven't had a lot of time to play Go Battle League, and traveling, got a bunch of work, all that stuff, been recording other videos, shadow stuff has been really consuming a lot of my time and mental space. So I recorded some of this on my way back from Mexico, and I think like the second set is like pretty recent or something like that. So anyways, rocking Giratina Origin, Best Bud, Dialga, which I think is one of the best switch-ins in the game, and then Metagross. So going to go into Origin form, Giratina Mirror. I noticed that mine has slightly higher CP, but that doesn't necessarily mean too much. Could mean that I do have Best Bud. It's not currently my buddy. So I do win CMP. So Shadow Ball goes through. This is how I necessarily like to play it out. I just like to farm down afterwards, shield, get the switch advantage, and then put a lot of pressure onto the next Pokemon. Ends up being Dialga, so I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball, and then I'm going to switch in to my own Dialga because I also have Metagross for Dialga. And then my Dialga is the Best Bud, so it's going to do a ton of damage to this Pokemon. Ends up going into Melmetal, and then I'm going straight for the Draco Meteor, looking to grab that last shield. Ends up just going through, which is totally fine. It's going to take 2 superpowers anyways to KO. Here goes the first superpower. If you try to Rock Slide, it probably won't KO, but you can probably farm down afterwards, to be honest. But Rock Slide is also a little bit more energy. Goes for the superpower. I'm going to go straight back into Giratina. I'm going to fire... This is like a very debuffed Rock Slide at this point. Down 2 stages. And I'm gonna look to try to get to the Shadow Ball, but then I realize I'm probably not going to get to it. My opponent seemed to shield the first Shadow Ball, so I'm going to fire it off, and then I'm going to switch out into Metagross. I'm going to shield whatever the first charge move is. If it ends up being Iron Head, that's fine. They're not going to be able to get to a Thunder or Draco Meteor afterwards. It ends up being Thunder, so I'm in a very good position right now, and I'm going to fire off the Earthquake to finish off game number 1. There you go. All right, we're gonna go into the next game. So I really I like this team is very effective. The reason why I'm posting this video is that I had one of my friends tell me that he's like, King, I've been powering up all sorts of random Pokemon because of your videos. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna post a video of like, this is the most meta team. You could replace Metagross with Melmetal, for example, or you could run Kyogre. There's lots of different options that are available. So not a great situation for me, so I'm going to switch out into Dialga. And a lot of times people are not carrying strong Dialga counters. And then this is also a Best Bud. Whoop. This is also a Best Bud. Oh my gosh, Best Bud Dialga. This is the emergency. Oh my gosh, you good. Okay. Ooh, this is the emergency. Unfortunately, a poor child has been kidnapped, and yeah, this is gonna be ringing for a while. So, anyways, I let it go so I could farm up with Metagross, and we're gonna see. I probably should have waited a little bit longer. I like locking in this Togekiss, anyways. I'm gonna let this go, expecting this to be an ancient power, and it is. And we're gonna see what's in the back. It's going to be Giratina Origin. Surprised that the counter switch didn't happen a little bit earlier because that actually would have been pretty good. And I'm going to look to land the second Meteor Mash. Hopefully grabbing the shield. And I do. And then I'm going to switch out. And I should be able to shield and then KO. So it ends up being an ominous win. Totally fine. They also have 100% Giratina. So it would be a CMP tie, but I doubt they could get off oh, they actually doesn't have getting going. So very fortunate for on my part. All right. Hopefully that noise didn't hurt anyone's ears, and hopefully they find this poor child. double steal. I did a video talking about some changes that could happen in Masters. I think that there could be some. It'll become very stale quickly, and so Texas Ranger fan, really good trainer, season 1 ace. So I'm gonna counter switch to my own Dialga. I have Best Bud on my Dialga, so looks like he's going up for the Draco Meteor, and then nice switch out, saving that Draco Meteor for later, and then they go into Machamp, and I'm actually able to kill. This is why Masters needs to be broken. Like, okay, he ends up lagging, and then I'm like, oh shoot, okay. So I end up letting fade down my Dialga, and then I'm in a pretty good position right now. So I'm gonna go into Metagross. I'm gonna shield this first one, hoping that it's gonna be the Draco Meteor. It ends up being the Iron Head, so I totally expect to get blasted very soon. And we end up CMP tying, so it's kind of a dumb move on my part. And he ends up hitting with Thunder, which does a decent amount. It automatically did the charge move, so because I clicked on it, which is fine. And then goes into Togekiss, and I'm gonna go into the Meteor Mash, and then just chunk away a little bit more, and then I'm going to go into Giratina. All I need to do is land a Shadow Ball. So I'm going to shield this first charge move. It ends up being Ancient Power. And I'm going to be able to land this Shadow Ball to KO. Alright. GG. Alright. We're going to go into the next battle. I like to wait a little bit so I don't get paired up with the same person again. Even if I have like a favorable position, it's just not fun to, especially if they don't change up their teams. Which is fine. Anyways, going up against George. Another bad lead. So I'm going to switch out into Dialga. And I'm going to look to land this Iron Head. Shield comes up. I have to shield in order to get off this second Iron Head and win the one shield matchup. Even though Ancient Power is resisted. So they end up letting it go, which is perfect for me because I'm going to go into Metagross. I probably should have waited the clock a little bit. And then here comes Kyogre, so I'm going to build up a little bit of energy. And I'm really worried about Blizzard. That's basically how I'll lose this match. So since there's no Blizzard, I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball. Which actually doesn't KO, which is fine. If this is Blizzard, which I don't think it will be, then I'll be fine. Probably has Thunder on the Kyogre. And we're going to see what's going to come out next. Ends up being Togekiss. And then I'm going to switch out into Metagross. And I think this is going to be an Ancient Power, which it is. It's good for me. And then here comes Snorlax. Oh man, that Snorlax. If that got paired up with my Giratina, it definitely would have been over. But these Meteor Mashes do so much damage. And I'm going to be able to KO, or almost KO, the Snorlax. And then going to be able to farm down with Bullet Punches. And then able to take out the Togekiss. Alright. Okay, and then going to wait a little bit. This is my first set of 5. Again, this is like when I'm in the... and I end up getting paired up with the same person despite waiting, which is very unfortunate. So again, I'm gonna follow the same strategy. Gonna go into Dialga, and I assume that they're gonna stay in. I'm not sure they're gonna play out the same. They could switch out earlier. Like, for example, they could switch as soon as I switch to Metagross, they could switch to Snorlax, forcing me to stay, and then that would put me in a pretty bad situation. Especially since Snorlax is going to be able to take a shield and then put me in a pretty compromising situation. They end up not shielding, which is fine. I expect Snorlax to come out. So Snorlax comes out, and then I'm going to go into Metagross. I have to worry about Earthquake from Snorlax. And then they tried to counter switch. So the timing was pretty decent there. And I'm not going to shield. I know this is just going to be a Surf. They probably have Surf Thunder. So I am going to do the Ominous Wind. I don't want this Snorlax to be able to farm me up for energy. So I am going to let this Kyogre do quite a bit of damage to me. I am looking to get the boost. If I get the boost, that's great. I am going to let it hit me. And then I might even try to farm it down. I want to be as low as health as possible. And so I let it hit me a little bit more. And then I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball. I guess I'm not going to really farm me down, to be honest, because I can switch out. Which is fine. Actually, I probably should just finish out that Kyogre sooner. So they end up not shielding, which is good for me, because I'm going to shield no matter what. If this ends up being a Body Slam bait, ends up being Earthquake, and then I'm just going to look to farm down at this point in time. Even if they hit the Earth, even if they Body Slam baited me, then Earthquaked me, I could probably still finish off with Giratina at that health range. So farming down like that and undercharging, like especially the switch clock should have came up, so kind of like a dumb play on my part. I definitely wouldn't advise that unless you're like super early in the clock, but because we had fired off quite a few charge moves, I think going for the Ominous Wind was the right strategy, but I think like getting hit by a few more, especially when the switch clock was coming up, was not the right move, and definitely could have cost me the game, especially if I needed the health on Giratina later on to take out the Snorlax. So, okay, they go Garchomp, which is not great for me. So, I am going to look to Ominous Wind bait. And my phone's super hot, that's why I really got to change phones, to be honest. And I'm hoping that this is going to be a Sand Tomb bait. Ends up going straight up for the Outrage, which is terrible for me. So I go for the Ominous Wind, hoping to grab the shield. They end up not shielding, so I'm like, oh man, this is terrible. I cannot let this Garchomp have energy, so I switch out into Dialga. And I'm lagging a little bit, again, because I'm pressing the things a little bit too hard, or pressing too quickly. And I'm hoping that they go for... They're definitely going to go for the superpower. They're building up to basically 100 energy. So they go for the superpower. I am lagging, which is fine. And I think they actually go for the Rock Slide. This is where I think I find out that the Rock Slide doesn't KO, which is very fortunate for me, because I'm able to land the Iron Head, even though this is 2-stage debuffed Iron Head. So that's pretty good. And what do? Did I go into Dialga? Or Giratina? Oh, I go into Metagross, and then I sack Giratina, which has basically no health left. And they superpower it, and then I farm down, and here comes Snorlax. I'm in a very good position. Even if they double Body Slam bait me, I should be able to get to the 3 Meteor Mashes I need to get to. So I'm gonna shield. There's no way they can get to. So I go for the the Meteor Mash. Yeah, pretty straightforward matchup for me. So I am gonna look to land. I needed all these shields just to be safe. They end up superpowering, which would actually is way less energy than Earthquake. Only 40 energy for their superpower. It's going to be neutral, but at that range, it probably would KO my Metagross. So that sack switch was totally necessary. All right, gonna go into the second game of this 5-game set, going against Lord Marth 66, and not a good situation. So I am gonna switch out into Dialga, and I am gonna overcharge because I'm a little worried that they're gonna counter switch, and I go for the Iron Head. And I expect the Ancient Power to come through, so I'm going to shield. And we are going to see. And I'm going to go for the Iron Head. Let's see if this Togekiss decides to double shield. It does, which is totally fine by me. Again, I should be waiting out the clock. I don't know why I switch out so right away. I'm going to go for the Meteor Mash. And I'm going to switch out into Giratina. I expect this to be an ominous win, which is why I don't shield. And then I'm going to farm up a little bit and then go for the ominous win. I don't know if I need that shield later on for Metagross. And then here comes the Togekiss. And this is just going to be an Ancient Power, so I'm not going to burn my shield. And I go for the ominous win. I kind of like this undercharging thing was kind of stupid of me because they automatically switch out, and I really should have KO'd, and then that way I could do a little bit more chip damage onto. It was dumb of me. It was a dumb maneuver. Yeah, it was a dumb maneuver because then I end up like putting it in Earthquake plus like. So a couple Dragon Claw, a couple Shadow Claws potentially would have been enough. And I tried to go for 2 Meteor Mashes. That was like my only play. But then they end up... the thing is, like, even if I connect, I probably get charmed down. So, not a smart move on my part. I should have just went to KO and then farm down, especially as the switch clock was coming up. So, yeah, not great on my part. Not great. So going to Quan 87, obviously one of my local friends, a very strong trainer. Feature him on the channel quite a bit. So this is not a good situation for me at all. So I switch out into Metagross. I'm not sure why I switched out to Metagross. And then he switches out into Groudon. So I need to control switch advantage. Absolutely need to, even though I don't really have great counterplay. And I see that he is counting clearly. So I'm like, okay, I already burned 1 shield. And I'm going to look to burn a 2nd shield. And then I'm going to assess like how close I am to the charge move. And he does a very good job of counting. And so I'm going to fire off the Meteor Mash. And then I think he goes into his own Giratina, which he does. And I'm absolutely desperate. I should have farmed up a little bit more against that Groudon, to be honest. Like, avoid me getting farmed down. And he does a really nice move. Really good move. I had like a small chance here, but I know he's going to switch out. And then I was like, okay, it doesn't look like he's switching out. And then he ends up catching the Shadow Ball. I don't think it mattered anyways, because this... I'm lagging a little bit, but that's fine. And I end up surviving this Earthquake. It maybe would have mattered, because if I would have saved the Shadow Ball. The thing is, like, I guess I do KO. I probably KO with Iron Head, to be honest. But, yeah, if I would have been able to save it, then I could have fired off the at least force a CMP tie. And I don't know what the CP on his Giratina was. Okay. It's probably... I don't know what the CP combination of that would be. Let's see. Giratina Origin. Looks like it was a 14 attack one, so really nice switch on his part. He knew what his win condition was, and he was able to execute it. I need to farm up a little bit more. Those mud shots don't do, even though they're super effective, don't do a lot of damage to Metagross. So yeah, not great on my part. So this is a favorable matchup for me. And then here comes, so I have the Buddy Boost, and they also have the Buddy Boost, but I don't think they have 15 attack on their Dialga. They go for the Draco Meteor, and then I think I decide just to farm down. It's so aggressive. And then I go for the Draco Meteor, which they don't shield. And then do they Iron Head me? Or Rock Slide? They Superpower, which is fine. And I go for the Ominous Wind. I don't know what's wrong with my... They end up shielding anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I switch out into Metagross. And then I'm going to look to burn it right away. Burn the shield. And then I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure I survived the flamethrower, and then I can just farm down with Giratina afterwards. But I end up being okay, and then I go for the Earthquake. So they end up like going for the Ancient Power boost, which is probably their only win condition. If even that. Okay, so we're gonna go into the last game. I think this is a good match. I'm trying to remember this one. Okay, so again, grab a favorable lead. Or do I mess up in this one? Let's see. They go into... Okay, so I really should have shielded this Shadow Ball. So they end up going for the Shadow Ball, which is fine. And then I'm going to straight for the Iron Head because I don't want to shield this Ominous Wind. They end up shielding. What do I do? I end up shielding as well. So we end up in even shield scenarios. And this is fine because I don't want this Metagross to be able to... Oh, you know, I think I tried to go for the Draco Meteor. No, they do a nice job farming there. They have a Best Buddy 100% Dialga as well. So I think I misplay this one. Okay, what do I do here? They Draco, and then I switch out into... Do I get... I think I mess up somewhere in this video. I don't know what's wrong with my ghost thing. I do get the boost. Maybe I don't screw up in this one. This mirror match does basically nothing right now, and then I'm going to be able to farm down. I am not sure. Maybe I'm not doing it right? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, and then I go... They end up shielding this... and then I think I end up just farming down, actually, to be honest. If they would have been able to farm me down, then I would have lost the CMP tie as well on the Draco Meteor. So I think I end up finishing 5-0 in the first set and 3-2 on the second set. Had some really, really great battles, some really great opponents. So thank you for the battles. And if you guys like this video or want to see more Master League videos, I have a few other videos I want to feature, but probably going to wind down, especially as there's only a couple days left in Masters, so I'm going to focus on some Toxic Cup content, or let me know what kind of content you want me to cover. So I'm going to leave it there. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.